This is Terrence Andre Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions, coming to you with an article I read from the real reason millennials are struggling. Not a website that I go to often, but the title always catches my attention. And with all the news going on about millennials, especially always the negative aspects, I want to just touch from a different standpoint. I think this article does a great job of doing that, explaining really the challenges that no other generation and demographic had to face, and they are actually what they're facing. So this article does a great thing in doing charts, and I'm just going to dive right in. And of course, I leave where you can get this information at the link in the description. Millennials struggling kids these days. Sound familiar? Every now generation is disparaged by the last. And then they do a little chart here showing the baby boomers. Baby boomers, December 1979 Washington Post article, a sleeping lion, the me generation of non-voters. This rising generation feels entitled to things. Their focus is themselves. They spend more readily for me products. And this is what they kind of labeled as the baby boomer generation. And the next thing they move down to another visual here, Generation X, 1965 to 1980. Their attention span is as short as one zap of a TV dial. The latest crop of adults wants to postpone growing up, considered overly sensitive at best and lazy at worst. It's interesting how they kind of label each generation in terms of these standpoints. And yet, millennials, 1981 to 1996 is the age range they're born in, have received even more negative attention than the past generations, and that's why. Millennial bashing a national pastime. The most visible generation, millennials are the first generation to post their every thought and antic online for all to criticize. That's true, they're very open in that. New analysts of millennials' faults and shortcomings are published every day. The most self-loathing generation that they've been called. Would you describe your generation as responsible? Millennials, they put them at the very bottom generation, 2 times more responsible than baby boomers, 3 times. While millennials face disdain from their elders, they experience real-world struggles their parents and grandparents never imagined. And this is where it gets to the heart of the article itself. The real challenge for millennials, student debt. See, no other generation has had to deal with student debt the way it is. And it's just astronomical. In the past 15 years, student debt owed by Americans' households tripled. $340 billion it was owed in 2001. In 2016, it was $1.3 trillion. We know it's over $1.5 trillion now and continuing to climb. Young Americans with student debt now have a negative net wealth effect. Median net worth of 25 to 34-year-olds with associate's degree or higher in student debt. 89,000 was 143. That was their net worth for people during that time, 1989. 2013 dropped down dramatically in terms of net worth to $6,798, and down to 2016, they make a claim it is negative 1,900. The blame game, that's because they waste money on over education. Millennials live in a world where a college degree is practically a requirement for employment. That is definitely true. Unemployment rate by educational attainment, 2017, 4.6 for a high school diploma, 3.4% for associate degree, and 2.5% degree for anyone in terms of their unemployment rate if they have a degree. So you can see here that the numbers are considerably less if you have, in terms of you at least eventually finding employment if you have a degree. Graduates from the age of 27 working jobs that don't require a college degree. There was 38% in 2000, 44.6% in 2015. That's because they got useless degrees. Students who pursue career-focused degrees, 55% of students less to selective colleges, and now 20% students at elite colleges where humanities and liberal arts degrees are more popular. This, again, I might be jumbling up some of the things here, but I'm putting the link inside the description, but it's really worth your time. Today's group is focused on business and healthcare. 1971 to 1971 school year, this is where they broke it down: education, social science, history, business, English, language and literature, engineering. And what's changed, 2015 school to 2016 school year, number 1 is business, 2 is health professionals related programs, 3 social sciences, 4 psychology, biological and biomedical services, number 5. Changing work realities, low loyalty levels among those wishing to leave. 43% of the millennials expect to leave their current job within 2 years. 70%, my company doesn't care about innovation. 62% says my company only cares about profit. 47%, my company doesn't care about social societal improvement, which is interesting. The blame game, that's because they're lazy. Well, 4 in 10 of the individuals work matrix are millennials. Reason millennials don't take vacation time, look at that, because this is the claim that they were millennials, and look, 23% fear that they might, what their boss might think. 27% don't want to be seen as replaceable. So that disclaims that claim right there, that they are not being lazy. Employment trends across the United States can be blamed on just one group. As of July 2018, for the first time, there are more jobs available than people to fill them. That's what they said. 6.35 million unemployed people, 6.7 million jobs. Construction workers, 30% decline in young workers from 2005 to 2016. Truck drivers expect to reach 100,000 work labor shortage by 2021. Millennials don't job hop anymore than generations did their age. Oh, I'm not saying this right. Millennials don't job hop any more than generations did at their age. So the millennials are not job hopping, and they're showing it here. Percentage of 18 to 35-year-olds current length of employment at current job. 60% millennials, 60% Generation X. 5 years or more, 20% millennials in 2006 to 22% Generation Xers. High housing cost. That's a very big problem. Americans living in their parents' home, 25 to 30 years old, 15%, 10%. Late boomers, 11%, 8%. Early boomers, 1981, 10%. Going here, millennials in 2016 live a lot more at home because of just the cost of living and the student loan debt that they're having. So the blame game, that's because they're irresponsible. No, they're not being irresponsible here. It's that they're, from what he's speaking out, is that the cost of everything is so much higher. The median asking rent was $500 in 2000. Look how much it's jumped up in 2018 for the median asking rent. It was $954. Staying home might just be a more financially responsible decision. Amongst young people can save per in a year, most expensive U.S. cities while living at home. $31,000 in San Francisco, $28,000 a year in New York, San Jose, $19,000, Los Angeles, $18,000, Chicago, $17,329. New time for starting a family. U.S. fertility rate has dropped over 13%. Median age to have a first child in the United States was 23 years old in 1994. Now in 2016, it's jumped up 3 more years to 2006 to 26 years old. That's because they're destroying family values. That's not because they're destroying family values. That's the cost of these children. It's why they cost an estimated average $233,610 to raise a child from birth to through age 17. Child care is too expensive. Want more time with the children I have. That's interesting. Worried about the economy. 49% of them. 44% can't afford more children. In spite of everything, millennials believe they have what it takes to succeed in the world of changing challenges and criticism. Over the next 5 years, almost 80% of young people ages 25 to 35 from around the world expect their lives to get better. And they appear to be optimistic as well. Take a look at this article. It just gives you, especially if you're a millennial, it gives you a different perspective than what people have been telling you, that, you know, a lot of the stuff you're being lazy. It's that you're dealing with a lot more issues than any other generation before. And it's something to pay attention to and to think differently because of that, because no other generation demographic has to deal with these particular problems and the amount of debt and how difficult it is in terms of finding employment, staying in employment, and everything else that goes on. So if this video has been any value to it, please subscribe, leave some comments. Until my next video, I'm out.